So today I'm going to go through all of the books that I bought in England. I did go away for a couple weeks right after Christmas, and I've just got back and I thought, well, let's do the haul. I have obviously bought books since my last haul that I posted on my channel, but this is the biggest sort of haul that I have to share for now. So let's get into it. I have mostly all of these, for the most part, are used. I did buy a lot of books in charity stores. However, I did get some from Waterstones, I think one from Tesco. Some of these are from my mum as well. She unhauled some books to me. Okay, let's start with the stack of books that my mum unhauled, because she got into reading like about the same time that I did last year, because she got motivated and she had some books that she still hadn't given to charity, because she doesn't like to hold on to books like some people. So she said I could take any of them. So I ended up taking all of these. I've not read any of these except for one. So the first one is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna, sorry. Now, I wasn't going to take this. I did read the synopsis and it didn't really interest me, but she said that I absolutely had to read it. It's all about Texas, back in the 1930s, and it's just like about a real struggle that this family has to survive, and it's really moving and everything like that. So it's going to be one of those books that I will feel awful reading, probably cry, and then be like, why did I read this? But sometimes you're in the mood for those types of books. So I did end up getting it and grabbing it from her. It was a longer book too. It's like 450 pages. So I had to be in the mood to read something like this because of how she described it. The next one is Songbirds by Christy Lefterry. So I read The Beekeeper of Aleppo last year, and I wept and wept and wept. And I told my mom about it, and she ended up buying it and reading it as well, but she also picked up Songbirds. I haven't read Songbirds, so this is another book of hers. I really love the way that she writes. I love the way that she wrote the book, The Beekeeper of Aleppo, but I listened to it, so now I actually have the physical copy. That's why I grabbed it. I potentially might read this and just have it as well, because there were so many moving parts of this story, so many heartbreaking parts, and I think it would be actually quite nice to go back into it. But anyway, Songbirds, I'm interested in just because of Christy Lefterry. I think, if she writes it the same way as The Beekeeper, she writes in such a beautiful, lyrical way. So I think this is about a mother who disappears, and we're not really sure what happens to her and everything like that. I don't know too much about it, but I'm sure if it's anything like The Beekeeper of Aleppo, it's going to make me cry. It's also based in Cyprus, which I think is really nice as well. So yeah, I'm excited to read that. And then I grabbed Where the Crawdads Sing by Dela Owens. I've almost bought this several times on Amazon, so I knew that my mom had bought it. I was like, well, maybe I'll just read it. And I think she read it and I think she enjoyed it, but she didn't praise it like she did the other ones. So I'm not sure it was really that great. I'm not sure. But I also haven't seen the movie yet either. So I don't know too much about this story. I just know it's about this girl who lives in the marsh, and there's a murder and they think it's her, and then there's this love triangle with two other guys. I'm not entirely sure, but it's just looks like the type of book that's going to be good, or the type of story that kind of catches your imagination. So I wanted to read it. And my mom also had The Woman That Lied, or The Woman Who Lied by Claire Douglas. I don't think she liked this book, but it sounded good, so I thought, let me just grab it and I'll read it. So this is about a girl who has a husband. She has two children, and she is a crime writer, and there's some weird things going on where things that she's written in her book start happening in real life, that type of trope. And it just sounded like it might be some silly thriller, and maybe I'll like it. I'm not a huge fan of thriller because I really feel like, I don't know, unless it really is good, I always find them to be so silly. but hopefully, I don't know, maybe that one will be okay. Okay, next book I have here, I bought this from Tesco. Because I went to Tesco quite a lot there just to do some food shopping, and sometimes they have some books, and they had this one where when I first saw it I was like, that looks interesting, but I'm not gonna buy it. And then when I went back again I was like, actually no, let me buy this. So this is The Night House by Joe Nesbo. I don't know what it was about it, but it's like, it says a twisted spin on classic horror, and it's basically, I think, about a boy. In the wake of his parents' tragic deaths, 14-year-old Richard has been sent to live with his aunt and uncle in the remote town of Ballantine. And it's about this house, and there's a phone booth, an abandoned house, and he sees a terrifying face in the window, and then voices start happening. I don't know. It's like a horror book, so I thought let me read it. I haven't seen this anywhere. I haven't seen anyone talk about it. I don't know if it's UK only. I have no idea. I don't know anything about this, but I thought that looks fun. Let me pick it up. All right, this one's different. So this one I bought in a coaster. So they had the mystery books where if you give £1, it goes to charity. I think it was a children's hospital charity, and you can grab one of their books. And they had a lot of romance. I think they had one crime or one maybe historical fiction, and then one other one that I wasn't too keen on. So I grabbed the romance. There's so many, I didn't know which one to grab. I haven't opened this. I don't know what this book is. It might be something I already have or something that I have no interest in reading, but let's open it and find out, because I am nervous. I don't know. Apparently the girl wasn't there, but the girl who put this together really loves books, and she chose all the books. Oh my gosh, what is this? Oh my gosh, it's like one of those old school like romances. This is Now the War is Over, and it's Annie Murray. Oh my god, the fighting is finished, but have their troubles only just begun. Okay, this is not something that I'm probably going to want to read, but I gave it for charity, so it's fine. It was only £1. So the Second World War is over. Birmingham is welcoming home its menfolk, and a new chapter is beginning. Families reunited. Melly, Rachel's eldest daughter, is a child of the war. She grew up in the bombed streets of Birmingham and has never known anything other than supporting a family, but times are changing, and Melly now has a fresh future ahead of her. Oh my goodness. I don't think I'm going to enjoy this book, but I have it now. So go into my Waterstones because I got 4 books. It was buy 2 get 50% off, so I ended up getting 4 books. They didn't have, I was looking for a really nice copy of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, the first one. I already have a hardback, but I wanted to get a really nice looking hardback. And I was just curious if they had it, and they didn't even have it in stock. They had like none of the books in stock. So I don't know if they're supposed to. I went to 2 Waterstones and they didn't have it at all. And then I think the second time I went when the second book comes out, and they didn't have that one either. So I was gutted because I would have liked to have been able to see it in store. But anyway, I'll just get that online. But I did end up getting these 4 books, and they're kind of books I've been actually, only one of them I've never heard of. All the rest, they're on my radar, and I picked them up because I knew I kind of wanted to read them, and I just thought, yeah, let's buy it. So the first one is God Killer by Hannah Kaner. Now this is obviously the paperback. I didn't want to buy too many bulky books because I knew I was having to, you know, fly back, and so I got this. This is so much smaller than I expected it to be. It is only like 300 pages. It's less than 300 pages. I thought this was a big book, because when you see the hardback you expect it to be a big book, and obviously it's fantasy as well. So I don't know, I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna like this book, but I've seen like a few people not like it, but majority I feel like have said this was a good book. So I don't know. I'm hoping to, yeah, I want to spread my wings a little bit more with fantasy, because I've really just read Sarah J Maas and it's like unacceptable at this point. I need to read a little bit more. So I don't think there's any romance at all. This is just about Kissen, and she saw her family murdered by a god. Now gods are forbidden, and they wander the kingdom, and she meets a god she cannot kill, and blah blah blah. I'm not entirely sure, but So I'm excited to read that one. And then this one, I just couldn't resist. It just looked really silly and a little bit raunchy. So this is In at the Deep End by Kate Davis. It's got two peppers there. And this looks like, so basically it says, until recently, Julia hadn't had sex in 3 years, but now one night stand is accusing her of breaking his penis. A sexually confident lesbian is making eyes at her over confrontational modern art, and she's wondering whether trimming her pubes makes her a bad feminist. It just caught me. I wanted to read it, so I picked it up. Okay, and then I have Bunny. This is another book that I wasn't sure if I was going to like. This is by Mona Awad, and this, to my knowledge, is about a cult. Girl ends up in a cult, something like that, and it's hit and miss. Some people love it and other people hate it. So I don't know which group I'll be in, but it was definitely on my radar and one of the books that I would like to potentially read. So I've got that one as well. And then this is another one where I've seen people have it on their worst books of the year, and then people have it on their best books of the year. I do not know where I'm going to be. It's science fiction, and it is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I haven't read any of his other works. I've seen The Martian with, in movies with Matt Damon. I think it's Matt Damon in Mars, but I haven't read any of the books, and I'm trying to think if I've read any science fiction books. There must be some, but I can't think of any right now. I'm not opposed to science fiction. I do think it's very interesting. I like science fiction movies and things like that, so I can't imagine why I wouldn't find it interesting. I just haven't delved into that world. So I thought, I've heard a lot of people that I follow on YouTube like this book, and then the ones that I don't really follow too much have said they don't like this book. So I'm kind of trying to listen to the ones I follow, and I'm hoping that they steer me into the right direction. We'll see. Anyway, I have it to read. And then I have this stack, which I got from charity store, and these were all £1 each, which I am super, super excited about. And there's a few here that are new books, like new as in like 2023 releases, and I got them for £1. So I'm very excited. But this first one is not new. This is Birdsong by Sebastian Faulks. I wasn't going to pick this up. My mom's like, you have to read this. She's like, you have to read it. It's a classic. You have to absolutely read this. So she just wants me to read really deep, sad books. She wants me to cry my eyes out. So anyway, I picked it up. It was £1. And it's about the First World War. Yeah, it's about the First World War. And yeah, the First World War, that was super brutal. I mean, they're all brutal, but I don't know. It's just going to be another one of those ones where I'm just going to be crying so much. Next up is Lucy Foley, The Paris Apartment. I almost bought this earlier this year, or last year actually, and I saw it in the charity shop. I was like, oh, okay, I'll pick that up. So, there's like hit and miss books, I think, with Lucy Foley. Some people like her and some people don't. I don't recall what people said about this book, but I remember seeing it around and I didn't end up getting it, so I've got it. It's like a murder mystery, I think, based in Paris, as it should be. So hopefully that is a good one. Next up, we've got Ruth Ware, The It Girl. So I bought this charity shop, and then I went into a bookstore and I saw it just sitting there for like £17, and I was like, haha, I just got you for £1. So this is another one where I've never read anything from Ruth Ware, but obviously I have heard of her books, and I'm gonna see if I like it, if I like the writing style, if I can get into more of these thrillers. This one is about April. Well, Hannah found April's body 10 years ago. Again, it's like some sort of mystery, what's going on. I didn't really read it too much. I just knew that this was a book that I had seen around. And I wanted to try Ruth Ware. So yeah, this came out in, I think, 2022. And then the first paperback was published in 2023. So reasonably a newish book that I thought was a good find. I also picked up Alice Feeney, His and Hers. Now, I've read one Alice Feeney book, Daisy Darker, and I really enjoyed it. I haven't read anything else, and I know that Good Bad Girl was kind of mixed reviews, but I don't really know anything about this one. This one was an older book of hers. So I thought, well, hang on a minute, let me try it. It's just going to be one of these. I think it was, yeah, it was published in 2020. It's definitely one of the older ones. And I think it's about a married couple or something. I'm not sure, but I just want, I guess I got some thrillers. I just, you know, you can't really pick and choose at charity stores. You just see what's there and you kind of get lucky. They had Assistant to the Villain, which I know is a book that people really enjoyed this last year, and then obviously a lot of people did not enjoy it. This is also another sort of, I think it's a romance mystery, something like that. I think it's about a girl who falls in love with a killer or a bad guy. I don't really know. Something like that. And she does some weird things where she helps him out. But yeah, this I got at a charity store, which I thought was really cool. Then I've got The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Never read from Taylor Jenkins Reid, so I'm excited to see if I like the writing style, because I have wanted to try some of their books and I just haven't got into it yet. This is a book where I really didn't want to buy it full price. I put it in my cart so many times on Amazon, and I've always taken it out because I always felt like, this is a lot of money for a book that I don't even know if I'm gonna like. I don't know if I can trust people. I mean, of course I've done that with other books in my other book hauls, but there was something about the story. I think it's an older lady who's recounting her life to this younger girl. It just didn't interest me, but so many people have liked this book. And when I saw that I could get it for £1, I was like, okay, fine. It's kind of like a no-brainer. Okay, we got 3 more. Yeah, okay. These 3, I don't know if I'm gonna like any of them. Oh gosh, it's getting so dark. All right, so the first one here is The Accidental Further Adventures of the 100-Year-Old Man by Jonas Joe Nassin. I do have another book by Jonas Joe Nassin, and I really should have read that book before buying this because I don't know if I like the writing style, but I thought that this sounded really cute and quirky, and I think it's going to be one of those more like a cozy read. And I think that he writes a lot of satire and sort of somewhat comical, maybe sadder stories. So I just thought this looked fun, and again, only, I think maybe this was 50p, I don't even know. No, this was £1. I thought, let's get it, why not? I want to read a lot more this year. My reading goal is 120, which I don't know why I did that to myself, because I read just over 50 last year. But that was from July onwards, so maybe I could do it? I don't really know. Anyway, next one is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Again, this was, how much was this one? I think this one was just 50p or £1. They were all different yeah, it was £1. So I've seen so many people love this book. A lot of people didn't really care for it. I personally didn't have any interest in reading this book, if I'm all that honest, but I saw it and I thought, you know what? Why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. I don't mind buying all these books if they're just £1. I really do not mind, because I've saved a lot of money in the long run. And then the last book that I have here is a classic. I've actually been reading some classics this last month. I have read Sense and Sensibility, and I just finished Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and I have some thoughts on those which I will speak about in the next month to wrap up. But this next book is one that I have wanted to read for a while. I actually didn't realize it was such a small book, and it's Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I've never read this. Never read it. Super sad. I vaguely kind of know the story. I think I've seen scenes of it on TV, but I don't know the full story, and I wanted to read it, and I have almost bought this on Amazon. I was just trying to find a nice copy, but then I saw it was in the charity shop. I was like, it's like a sign. Not that this is like the nicest quality you can buy, but you know what? It's better than having to pay more money, I would say. But yeah, it's actually pretty dense. So when I looked at this, it was only like, it was under 300 pages, but the pages are very dense. It's probably like 300 and something. If it was, yeah, this is a very densely packed book, but deeply moving love story. And I'm hoping that it makes me cry and weep because, you know, so maybe I'll read some of those. Maybe I'll read that for like Valentine's Day. Well, I don't know if it's like a true Valentine's Day book to read. I don't know. But anyway, that's everything that I got in England. A lot of charity books, but I'm so happy that I can give money to charity, but also like help, you know, my reading. And I'm still trying to figure out what I like and what I don't like. And that's also why I've gone and read a few classics as well this month so far, because I want to know if I even like the classics. And even just with those two books, Sense and Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice, they're so different from each other. I mean, they're very similar, but they're very different from each other. And I far like one over the other so far. So anyway, that's everything that I picked up. Thank you so much for watching. Now I have to figure out how to get this on my bookshelf because my bookshelf is packed and I don't have any space. I don't have space, so I don't know.